Hey Embers, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video from me. So in today's video we are going to be talking about my favourite games made or published by EA. There is some, of course, caveats to this, which I will discuss as we go on. But I thought I would do a little series here on this channel, I guess, of my favourite games made by XYZ, you know. So I'm going to start with EA. So EA Games, EA Publishing, have had a hand in many video games. I have picked 7 for my list. So let's get straight on. Oh, just before we do, I am pre-recording today, so I promise I don't wear the same clothes all the time, but you might see me dressed like this in a few further videos. So let's start. One of my favourite games made by EA, again there is a caveat here, is Pirates The Legend of Black Cat. I have spoken about this game many times. So Pirates The Legend of Black Cat was released in 2002. You play as a pirate, Katarina, and it's just an amazing game and I wish more people knew about it. So this game was published by EA. I do have notes here, that's why I'm looking. However, it was made by Westwood Studios, who no longer exist. They have since been bought and merged with EA. So it is an EA game now, but it was originally made by Westwood Studios. But I do believe EA published it from the start, so that's why I've included it on this list. So the second game I wanted to talk about here is Dragon Age, and I chose to pick Dragon Age Origins. So Dragon Age Origins came out in 2009. It was published by EA again, however it was made by BioWare, and much like a lot on this list, BioWare has since been bought and merged with EA, so now Dragon Age is an EA-owned property. Now the reason I picked Dragon Age Origins is because it's the only one I've played, to be honest. I do have Dragon Age 2 and Dragon Age Inquisition, and I haven't played them yet. However, I absolutely loved Origins, so I am really excited to play the other 2 games. So next up we have a game from 2000, and again this one has a very interesting history here. And it's Theme Park World. So did I put this one in for pure nostalgia? I absolutely did. If the title doesn't tell you what it's about, you build your own theme park. And this one, like I say, very interesting. So the reason that it's on this list, it was developed by Bullfrog Studios, who merged into EA, and it was published by EA. So I'm talking specifically, though, about the PlayStation 1 version, because there were a few versions of Theme Park World. Now, the PlayStation 1 version was developed by Climax Studios, but still published by EA. As far as I'm aware, I don't think Climax Studios still exists. Bullfrog Studios definitely doesn't. So for the purposes of this list, it is a fully EA-owned property. I don't know if they'll do anything with the theme park franchise going forward. There have been a couple of games in that sort of series, but not for a while, so maybe they'll do something with Theme Park World. But is it on this list for pure nostalgia? Pretty much. So number 4 on my list, these are in no order by the way, is one of the most recent, and that is A Way Out, which was released in 2018. This was published by EA, but it was made by Hazelight Studios. Oh my goodness. I loved A Way Out, so I played this game with my husband. He wasn't my husband then. And you are basically, you are 2 prisoners who are trying to escape the prison, and there's reasons, and the story just, I didn't expect to be hit the feels so much as I did by A Way Out. I thought it was incredible. It's one of those amazing games that has such a twist that once you know the twist, you don't want to play it again, but you do want to play it again. But my heart was broken into a million pieces, so will I play it again? I don't know. But it's just amazing. And if you do have a player 2, whoever that might be, please try A Way Out, because it's absolutely, it's just heartbreaking and incredible, and I loved every second of it. Next up, we have Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, which came out in 2001. I am talking specifically about the PlayStation 1 version. That's the one I have the most nostalgia for. The PlayStation 2 version is better, actually. I'll just come out and say it, but the one I'm going to be talking about today is the PlayStation 1 version. So, as you can see, I am a big Harry Potter fan, despite the controversy, unfortunately. That's something I don't tend to talk about here, but I will address it if it needs to be addressed. I have addressed it on my main channel. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone came out in 2001, the PlayStation 1 game. It was published by EA and made by Argonaut Games. Argonaut Games no longer exists. There's quite a few on this list, as you will note, that no longer exist. And why did I pick the PlayStation 1 version? Again, for the nostalgia. It's the one I've played the most, even though not arguably, the PlayStation 2 version is better. But the PlayStation 1 was the platform that I could play it the most on, because the PlayStation 2 version, I do have it, but it's actually quite expensive to get your hands on, whereas the PlayStation 1 version is more readily available, so that's why I chose to talk about that. So we'll move on to the 6th on my list, and that is Unravel 2. So this came out in 2018. As you can tell, we are a bit all over the place with these genres. This was published by EA, but it was made by Cold Water Interactive. Unravel 2, again, I played with my husband. If you have a player 2, again, it's just such a heartwarming game. So you play as a Yarny, which is an animate piece of yarn that's fashioned into a sort of figure. And you have to work together because you are connected by some yarn. So you can't move, too far away from each other. And it's all about solving puzzles and getting to your destination while being attached to each other. And it's such a cute, heartwarming game. And one thing I will say is the music is absolutely stellar for me. I think the music is beautiful. The scenery is beautiful. Everything about this game, if I had to use one word to describe it, it would be enchanting. That's how I feel about Unravel 2, and I thought it was absolutely brilliant. We have played the first one, but the first one is a single player game, so we do end up going back to Unravel 2. And I loved it that much to the point that on one Valentine's Day, I found an Etsy seller who makes yarnies, and I had yarnies made for myself and my husband. So that's how much I love that game. We'll talk about the last game here on this list, my favourite games made/published by EA. And we spoke about Hazelight Studios already when we talked about A Way Out, so why not talk about It Takes Two? This was made in 2021, published by EA, but again made by Hazelight Studios. And again, another couch co-op on this list. So much like A Way Out, It Takes Two, I preferred A Way Out. I'll say that from the start. However, I really, really liked It Takes Two. And you are basically an sort of estranged couple who are having some difficulties, and something happens with the daughter and you have to go and find her. And throughout that journey, you get closer together. Now, the only thing I would say about It Takes Two is I didn't find the ending as cathartic or believable as I think it should have been, but that is purely a personal preference, and I can't really talk about that much without getting into spoiler territory, but that doesn't detract from the game at all. I thought the game was absolutely brilliant, and of course I did because it's on this list. So that is all of my favourite games made/published by EA. Like you see, we do experience a few difficulties making this list because there are studios that have merged, there are studios that no longer exist, so really difficult to make a list like this, but I hope you enjoy it. So let me know, what are your favourite games made/published by EA? And thank you very much for watching. Until next time, bye Embers.